Hello there, and welcome to our Michael Herr / Shield of the Sun video titled The World You Do Not See. Have you ever wondered why our governments act so evil at times? It's kind of an interesting question. To say governments are evil is a pretty broad, judgmental statement. But to say there are a lot of evil men in our government, evil men and women, doing many vicious things, then is not a broad statement. That would be an accurate statement. But among them, within every harvest, you got good wheat and bad wheat, if you will. You got things you want to preserve, then you want things to be plucked up and removed. But the interesting thing about all of this, what does the Bible have to say about supernatural reality influencing governments of the world? I have expanded much territory in terms of videos about this, and I have done many books on this. But in this video, I would like to expand and discuss what the Bible has to say about it, as I've done before, but to give you a very clear understanding of what may shock you to know on what the Bible actually has to say about it. If this is something you don't already know, or if this is something that could re-edify you, or if this is something that you probably really should know. So let's look into it. We're going to look into Psalm 82. And we're going to start in Psalm 82 in verse 1. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. This is the very first thing that's written in Psalm 82 in the first verse. Notice how he says, God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. Who are the gods, is the question. The Bible reveals that Satan seeks to be worshipped as a god. The Bible also reveals that Satan has followers, and therefore there are people who worship him. The Bible reveals that when people worship the host of Satan, they are worshiping various entities that are shapeshifters, can play different characters, can present themselves in a manner that it is of a deceiving nature, using marketable merchandise art forms, meaning acting, musing, and music and inspiration in order to do that. Who are these gods? Well, since Satan is classified as this entity looking for worship, and Satan is classified as a host, then these gods would be classified in the Bible as false gods and accurately described as fallen angels and various demonic beings. Now let us look further into this. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Now there's something going on with these gods, if you will. These false gods, really. These false gods are seen as gods among their followers. And their followers do what these gods want them to do. For instance, if these gods tell them to create policies based in discrimination, that's what the followers will do. If the gods tell them to make policies that would lead to prisons, impoverishment, murderers, sufferings, abuse, and other crimes committed against the body and mind, that's what the followers will do. The followers will do whatever these gods want them to do. If the gods want them to set up a society where children will be deprived of their fathers, where their mothers will be corrupted, or maybe in reverse, or maybe the children will be targeted and abused, and the parents will have to go along with it. Injustices unrampant, unraveling families and destroying them left and right. If the gods state, set up policies for this to happen, that's what the followers will do. Let's read on. Deliver the poor and needy, rid them out of the hand of the wicked. This is God telling the rulers what they should do, but that's not what they're doing. Let's read it. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Defend the poor and fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. The foundations of the earth connect to the magnetic poles of the earth. It connects to the sciences of what holds the planets in the universe in place. When the gods are unleashed, when the gods' policies are enforced, certain signs accompany that. First, there is a large wave of injustices going on in the households around the world. Families are becoming more and more dysfunctional. As they become more and more dysfunctional, signs are presented within our oceans, within our universe, and within the orbitable streams of the planets. Things go out of course. Things become more hotter. Things become more colder. Fish start dying more. Birds start falling out of the air. Things start to happen that demands an explanation. Quantum changes that cannot be explained take place. Idolatry of a worse kind is unleashed because the policies are becoming completely out of hand, because the policies aren't in line to save your children, to save your families, to save you. They're in line to destroy you. Let's look more. I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High, but ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. So what is God declaring there? First, is God talking to human beings? Obviously not, because God is comparing the fact that these spiritual entities are going to die like any other human being, like any other fallen prince, any other government administrator you want to use, discard, and assassinate or get rid of. That's how God is stating he's going to treat these fallen angels the same way you treated your followers. So what is going on here? This is the shocking part you got to recognize. What is going on behind the scenes of governments? What is going on with all this alien stuff, as they want to call that? The abduction thing. What is going on? Is it really an aliens they're dealing with? Or are they dealing with the ancient deities, the false deities, and the entities that they have been dealing with for centuries? That what the Bible has been stating about these entities is that they are supernatural from another world, but they can be identified biblically. Why does the government go out of their way to remove Bible from your school? Why do they attack Christian ministers like myself who have ever opened our mouths to speak on subjects like this? Why do they go out of their way to do that? Why do they silence and oppress and distract you from what you should be paying attention to? It's because they are following policies given to them by what they want to call aliens, but what is called by them as their gods and called in the Bible as false gods, as the hosts of Satan. Let's look further into this incident that gives more credence to this. You might remember the temptation of Jesus Christ. So let's look at this pretty interesting thing in regards to Christ and this temptation. We're going to go into Matthew chapter 4, and we're going to go into verse 8. Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them, and saith unto him, All these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. The devil, Satan, in the temptation of Jesus Christ, takes Jesus into this dimensional world, in a place behind the air, to an exceeding high mountain, the echoes of our dimensions. And he shows Jesus how he sees the kingdoms of the world. They all belong to him. They belong to Satan. Satan has manipulated all the rulers of the world. initialize policies for each of these governments, and each of these government leaders lie to their people and use the resources and the people to initialize the policies of Satan that leads to war, poverty, destruction, injustice, discrimination, racism, vanity, and all kinds of stupid things. It is showing Jesus who runs the world. And now, he's offering Jesus, if you will forego your mission, not save the human race, not give them a chance out of the judgment and out from the fires of hell, if you will not place your influence of forgiveness, mercy, tolerance, and intelligence on this realm, a realm that Jesus, God, created, that Satan will relinquish the authority and hand it all back to Jesus. That's what Satan is presenting to Jesus. A cheap, easy way out, and in the logic of Satan, of course. But Jesus knows who Satan actually works for. Let's look at this again. Then saith Jesus unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. And then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. Though the devil controlled all the kingdoms of the world, he didn't own them. The only reason the devil controlled the kingdoms of the world is because mankind failed God. Government leaders of that time and even now failed God. They failed God because instead of serving God, they served Satan. Instead of worshiping God, they worshiped Satan. And Jesus presented the example. You don't worship Satan, you worship God and serve him only. Therefore, what Satan offers is everything God gave to mankind. God created a structure here, put certain people in position here to do the job. But when they don't give the glory, the credit, and the works over to God, they give it to Satan, and thus they serve him instead. When they do that, this destroys the good within governments and within people themselves. But the aspect that we must look at is the offer that Satan gave to Jesus. The offer of all the kingdoms of the world, meaning their governments. Therefore, what the Bible presents is that Satan controls governments, and he controls them to the point he can rule the entire world through the people who serve Satan. And when we think about today, and we think about this present time, note that the great deception is very thick, and it runs through the avenues of all societies. Lives are being destroyed over it. Families are being wrecked over it. And so many people are being afflicted by it each and every day. Disclosure is going to come one way or another. The truth is going to come out one way or another. And if leaders within our government or leaders within governments around the world continue the distraction games, the mind control games, the race baiting games, and every other stupid activity that they seem to be involved with, and every other dumb rhetoric that comes out of their words with no substance for salvation, no understanding of who they are, and then disacknowledging the supernatural when the Bible says the supernatural has a lot and everything to do with the evil policies seen in this world. We are to follow God and serve him only. The reason people want to talk about aliens and nonsense is because of the fact they don't know what the truth of it is. And the reason why governments won't tell them the truth and just give them the understanding is because they are without understanding when they bow down to beings, calling them aliens and worshiping them as if they created them and provide no proof that they ever did. It's absolutely sad and appalling when people have to be deceived on high levels and not ask themselves those important esoteric questions about what is the truth and what is their eye beholding. Never be deceived. Keep yourselves awake. This has been our Michael Herr / Shield of the Sun video. I want to thank everyone who has been supporting me at GoFundMe. And I want to tell you that I've received all my mail. Every piece of mail you've sent me, I have received it. I want to say thank you very, very much. I can continue to use your help, continue to use prayers. So if you'd like to send me anything, you can go at GoFundMe under the Michael Herr Ministry. If you'd like to donate to me through the mail, you can send that at MIGUELJIMENEZ at P.O. Box 39204, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28278. You can also purchase my books at www.lulu.com under the name Michael Herr. I want to say God bless you to all, and I will see you next video.